Welcome to Six of One and Bill of the Other, where this episode we are going to discuss In Bruges. Bill, tell me what In Bruges was all about.
Okay, well, spoiler alert, but In Bruges is set in the picturesque medieval Belgian city of Bruges. The film follows two Irish hitmen, Ray and Ken, who are sent to Bruges by their boss Harry after a job goes wrong. They're instructed to lay low and wait for further instructions. The movie explores the dynamics between the two hitmen as they navigate their forced vacation in Bruges. Ray is younger and restless, finding the city boring, that's one way to put it, while the older Ken appreciates its history and architecture. As they wait, they encounter various colorful local characters and get involved in unexpected situations. The film is known for its sharp dialogue, dark humor, and the contrast between the beauty of Bruges and the violent world of the protagonists. It deals with themes of guilt, morality, and redemption while maintaining a unique balance of comedy and drama. In Bruges was written and directed by Martin McDonough and received critical acclaim for his script, performances, and direction.
Brilliant. So you've just covered everything I was about to say. So on that note, over and... What a synopsis! Holy shit! You're only supposed to blow the f***ing doors off.
You've got to edit that in. That's got to be just every once in a while. Just cut that in. I think an interesting thing about this film, in prior podcasts, we've talked about how comedy tends to work better in serious films. So in a movie where everything is deadly serious, when a joke happens, it's unexpected and usually funnier than if it's just a straight comedy. And I thought what was interesting is this film did the exact opposite, where it's billed as a comedy. You watch the trailer, it's a comedy. The beginning of the film is essentially a buddy comedy with sort of an odd couple vibe going on between Ken and Ray. And then it gets very, very serious. And as in real life, someone dying is always sadder if they've made you laugh. And obviously we'll be covering spoilers for this film. So I thought it was really interesting how the script turned everything on its head and making what is a comedy into more of a serious film towards the end. And I just thought it was extremely, extremely well made. And a sign of a very well made film is every side character and bit pays off later. I think in a lesser film, a lot of the little sort of I run into, like there's the scene when they run into the Americans. I guess I should address that right away, where I'll say Americans and I guess we find out later Canadians are not smiled upon in this film. And so at one point they're going to climb up this tower in Bruges, and an American family asks Ray about the tower, and he says, "Oh, I don't think you want to go because I know you guys are going to be shocked, but the Americans are overweight in this film." And I know you're not used to seeing that, so I guess they were going, Americans aren't known for being overweight. I say with a wink. But so they do this whole joke where he goes, I wouldn't go up there. It's a little tight. He goes, what's that supposed to mean? He goes, well, you're a bunch of elephants. And they get into a fist fight where the American's too fat to hit him because he can't catch him.
He does. It's the way he does the little running around.
Yeah.
It's just the way he very gently runs around until the American gets tired. That's lovely. That's lovely.
And then, well, my favorite part is then Ken comes out, who is the more civilized character, and he finds out they're going to go up the tower, and he goes, "Oh, I wouldn't. It's very narrow." And he's like, "Fuck you!" You know,
you motherfucker.
And then, so to go with my point, later on in the film, they have to be able to get up the tower, and he says it's closed because an American climbed up there and had a heart attack and died.
Do you know what?
But they waited. I think the runtime of the film is, let's say, 2 hours. The first scene happens like 15 minutes in, and the payoff happens like 15 minutes before the film ends. But every side character and every bit, like I think a worse version of this movie is like a Saturday Night Live thing where they do the skit about the fat American, and that's just a goofy character, and we move on. Yeah. This and other things that happen, they pay off in a much bigger way. But everything is thought of, and everything is there for a purpose, and I was very impressed.
I mean, that you've addressed what I was going to talk about, which is the fact that it's like a cyclical film where it starts pretty much at the beginning where they look at the tower, the Belfry of Bruges. And they reference it. They climb it. He climbs it while Ray stands at the base and says, I can see everything from down here. It's fine, thanks. And then towards the end of the film, the climax is at the Belfry of Bruges. This film very much reminds me of Withnail and I. Have you ever watched that film?
No.
It's kind of an odd couple. Very similar characters to Ken and Ray, Withnail and I. And also a film called Once that was set in Dublin. All kind of links in with it. Where they did sort of guerrilla filming. So it was all filmed within Dublin. And I actually visited Dublin to visit the areas that were in the film Once. And I can kind of... I've never wanted to go to Bruges, right? But this film made me want to go.
Before you say that, when
to visit the locations.
I was just curious, when you were in Dublin, were you wearing a fur coat?
Come on, give us the line. Give us the line for old time's sake.
He was wearing a fur coat! Okay.
But, look, to its credit, yeah, this film...
Oh, man.
To its credit, this film makes me want to go to Bruges. Just to visit the Belfry of Bruges and to visit the, I have the urge to touch the vial that holds the dried blood of Christ. Now, Ray in the film wasn't much concerned with that. Do I have to? Do I have to, Ken? Do you have to touch the blood of Jesus Christ? No, Ray! No, you don't! And I thought he was going to then, join the queue. And he didn't. He just turned around and walked out. This film was so funny.
See, what I thought was funny about that is we're supposed to think Ray's the idiot in that scene because why wouldn't he want to touch the blood of Christ? But really, he's the smart one because it's clearly a that is. I hate to go out on a limb here, but that is not the blood of Christ.
Hey, I've researched it. I've researched it.
Would you like to touch the blood of an ancient con man?
There's no evidence to suggest that it is or isn't the blood of Christ. The relationship between Ken and Ray, right, is this whole movie, right?
Yeah.
And now, here's a reference that anyone in the UK will get. This is almost like a spectacularly dark version of Father Ted.
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away. Small, far away. Forget it.
Have you ever seen Father Ted or heard about Father Ted?
Is that a Ricky Gervais thing?
No. Oh. It's an Irish sitcom, right? About a collection of priests, but the two main characters are Father Ted and Dougal. And in this film, Ken is quite clearly Father Ted and Ray is quite clearly Dougal, right? And if anyone's watching In Bruges in future who knows Father Ted, watch it thinking about Colin Farrell playing the part of Dougal, and you'll know exactly what I mean. When I was talking about Withnail and I, and how this film reminds me a bit, again, it's that classic movie where you've got two characters who are very different, who are thrown together in strange circumstances. And the movie is like a moment in time that just references these conversations and just a couple of days in their life kind of thing. And the music in that film is really poignant, even though it's a comedy.
Gothic piano, yeah.
Right? And that's Withnail and I, really poignant music, sort of to counter the comedy. And this was very much the same. So you've got quite sort of violent acts, very funny lines, but the music is so melodramatic. And the contrast with the dialogue. And then I noticed that the person who wrote this music also wrote the score for Being John Malkovich, an adaptation, right?
Well, it's funny you say that because I was going to say in the beginning of the film, it happens in 2008.
Yes.
Ray starts crying, and I wrote in my notes, did he just watch Synecdoche, New York?
This is incredible, right? The what do you call it? When it's symbiosis? What do you call it when it does that?
Is it the Venn diagram of.
Well, we'll go with Venn diagram, right? So there, right?
That looks a lot like different than I don't know what kind of diagram that is, but I don't think that's a Venns.
This film appears to be a kind of adaptation of an old Harold Pinter play, The Dumb Waiter. And I read the plot of The Dumb Waiter, and it is this film. And Synecdoche, New York references Harold Pinter. Harold Pinter, the same score, the same year. This is almost... It's almost the same film, bar... Is he doing a wee or a poo? No, that's very Synecdoche, New York as well. That was oh my God, that was the very first scene in Synecdoche, New York references the colour of the girl's poo. And in this film, we have the kind of mob crime boss asking, is he doing a wee or a poo?
I think you're stretching things a little bit. You're
No.
like, in Synecdoche, New York,
Stretching
someone
the anus.
poops. In this film, someone poops. Like it's like that REM song, Everybody Poops. Or is that something like that?
Just hold very still for a moment. Very still. Like a statue. Ready? No, you're an inanimate f***ing object. Right, just wanted to get that out. Oh, Ray Fiennes in this film. Ray Fiennes is the best thing in this film.
Six loves Harry.
Harry
Six has been doing Harry impressions the whole lead up to us recording this.
It's just so f***ing fantastic. Things I liked about this film. Colin Farrell turns up at the beginning wearing 2 shirts and a jacket, and no matter what he does during the whole film, when he goes on dates where he gets told by Ken, "Oh, you're looking good, Ray." Whatever he does in the film, he's wearing the same clothes, so they keep to the idea that he's turned up. So what I was actually thinking was, he must stink, because like, mustn't he? No, like, at no point do I see him washing his shirts in the sink.
Well,
And he's going through some shit. He's blinding people. He's fighting. He punched a woman in the face.
Oh, he got all bloody too, and then I guess the clothes weren't bloody. I was more concerned about shooting people in broad daylight, or like in big public squares, just shooting at people and running and being like, it's fine.
That was beautiful.
But I think it's one of those films that you have to just. It's so well made, you have to just go, it's okay. Because I was thinking about in the end when Harry's just shooting him around everyone who just can see that it's him shooting him, and he doesn't care.
Everyone's immediate reaction might be that it's because it's a film set.
Yeah, but not the camera guy. Not the camera guy. I mean, people know what happens in the film. Like, if you broke into what's a stupid show? If they were filming Young Sheldon and you blew a guy's head off in the middle of the set, I think they would know that something's a little off.
I'm thinking about onlookers, people just walking through Bruges, because I think they must run onto the part of the set where there must be some kind of cameras and lights and things. If I was a tourist in Bruges, right, and I walk down the street at night and I see loads of lights and things, and then I see someone running along with a gun shooting, I'll probably just carry on walking. There's a point in this film where Ray waves at one of the other characters who doesn't respond, who just marches on past, and it really gets to him. So much so that he visits that character later in the film and brings it up. And when someone brings something up, they feel it and they mean it. And I remember a previous episode that we recorded where we had to come up with things that annoyed us in life. And one of your primary things, it might have even been number 1, was when you wave at someone and they don't acknowledge you back. Did this bring out in you bad memories? Did you need to go and have a shot of whiskey?
It was the moment that Ray won me over as a character, because I couldn't help but be in his shoes. And what's funny is I talked about how well crafted this film is, and so he waves and the guy doesn't wave, and he goes to Chloe, who is I guess, is she a prostitute or I don't know. It's an actress, Chloe, and he asks her. He tells her first about that he waved and didn't wave back, and he goes, "Oh no, don't be offended. He's on horse tranquilizer."
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's going on. And what I love about this film is, again, in a worse movie, that's a throwaway line, Then when he finally confronts the guy about not waving back, the guy goes, "I'm really sorry, but I was on horse tranquilizer." Like he actually was on horse tranquilizer. And now I'm wondering throughout my life when I have waved to people and they haven't addressed me, maybe they've all been on horse tranquilizer and I just didn't know.
They've all been on ketamine and you didn't know it.
And I didn't even know they were on ketamine, yeah.
Do you know what the good bit about that was? Because you're right, it's all comes around. Chloe, no, she wasn't a prostitute. She was like a drug dealer who was like hanging out on the set and giving people drugs. But you're right. She says, yeah, I sold him some ketamine or whatever, horse tranquilizer. And you're right. The best bit about that is when he says, no, I didn't. I wouldn't have waved. Oh, I didn't. I wouldn't have waved. I was on horse tranquilizer. And then he goes, perhaps I would have waved at a horse. So no, there's something like that. I'll put it in now.
I was on a very strong horse tranquilizer today. Wasn't waving hello to anybody, except maybe to a horse.
But I might have waved at a horse.
Well, I like later when he actually
like that
meets
line
his-
anyway.
He meets an actual prostitute and he goes, "Where are you from?" And she goes, "Amsterdam." And he goes, "Amsterdam's nothing but whores,
Nothing but prostitutes."
And nothing but prostitutes. She goes, "I know. That's why I moved here. It was too." Like she
I
was
thought I
very
could get
matter-
better pay for my. It's just beeping. I'm beeping everything here.
A main point of the film is that Ray, doing his first hit, which you find out towards the very end of the film, that it's his first hit.
The very first hit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a hit on a priest. Eddie does this really cool mobster movie kind of thing where he's like, "Who did you kill? You, father! You were wearing the fire coat!" And he shoots he shoots the guy and the priest runs out. And then there was a little boy. And he shoots the little boy in the head by accident and kills him. And what kills me is someone wrote this. So obviously this is not a real life story. Someone wrote this. And the kid's got a little thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And reasons he was being naughty.
Yes.
And it was like, took the Christmas present. And the last one was for being sad. So the reason the kid was in confession was because he was sad. Like, so the guy writing this, what was it, Martin
McDonough.
No, he written and directed. Martin
seems to have
McDonough
done everything to do with this film.
He said he thought to himself, shooting a toddler in the head and killing him while he's at church isn't depressing enough. It just needs something more. So he added at the end that the
reason he's there,
the reason he's in
the
it-
child's there is
because he's sad.
because he's so that means his family, right? So that means that the child was at home, sort of being a bit maudlin and that, and the family have said, cheer up, cheer the up, why not? And he's like, oh, I'm just feeling a bit sad. Go to church, go to confession.
Okay, so then Ken, he's talking and Ken's trying to make him feel better. This is before he mentions why, but he says, well, I killed someone that I regret. And he was killing someone, and he says a lollipop man got in the way. And they have this banter about why would a lollipop man know karate if he, this thing. I have no idea what the a lollipop man
Don't
is.
you know what a lollipop man is?
No.
Oh, this is brilliant. This was a great
So I had to
scene.
go to Google, and
was
am
a
I
great
correct
scene.
in saying that a lollipop man is a crossing guard? Is
Yes.
that what it is?
You know,
Okay.
probably in America you have like traffic lights and things, right?
Yes.
Here we don't. If for school kids crossing the road every morning and every evening at school opening and closing, a man or woman turns up in the street wearing a lollipop outfit and holding a stop-start
So
sign
there
and
are
marches
in the
into the middle
cities-
of the road and stops all the traffic.
In the city, for school kids, we do have crossing guards, but we do not call them lollipop
Do they
men.
hold? Do they
Yes.
hold large lollipops? Well, you know what a
No.
lollipop man is then. A crossing
no,
guard.
I don't. No, we never call it that. So I would say we reviewed Office Space, and there's a scene where the character says to his blue collar buddy, he goes, "What would you do if someone said to you at work, 'I bet you've got the case of the Mondays'?" And the guy thought about it, and he goes, "Well, I'd reckon they'd get their ass kicked." Here, I'll say that if I refer to anyone, I mean, if I refer to a child as a lollipop man, I would get the shit kicked out of me. That is just not. We just don't call people lollipop man.
A 50-year-old lollipop man who knows karate. Ray is not convinced by this at all.
Well,
Yeah.
and then they did another callback because he said he had a bottle in his hand, and Ray said, "Oh, that's
Yes.
okay to kill somebody."
Yes.
And then they did it. A woman came at him with a bottle, and it turns out to be
totally
Canadian.
hilarious.
Which
Yeah.
but
I mean-
but even that little with the couple when he's on the date, and so the Canadian guy complains because Chloe is blowing cigarette smoke, and they end up getting in a fight, and he punches the lady because she has a bottle. Then he's on the train leaving Belgium, and he has to go back because they called him in. But again, it's like so tightly written that like it's not. Again, I just picture that it's like the Ghostbusters movie where the not the newest one, the one before with all the SNL characters, where it's just they're doing goof to goof to goof to goof, and they're doing skits and skits and skits, and none of them have any bearing on the rest. And this movie, every little thing is integral to making the engine of the plot work. And I thought that was
Every
very
single thing. This writer, it's like he had it all the post-it notes out like a jigsaw puzzle, and he
Yeah.
made sure they all fit. And it's strange because I do my two views, right? And I watched it the first time, and I kind of, like I said, I got that Father Ted, Withnail and I Once vibe. And then the second viewing, it all kind of fell into place more, and I was like, because I knew what was coming, it was like, oh my god, they're referencing that here, and it's quite intricate. And it went from being a film that I thought, yeah, it was pretty good. Second viewing, because we haven't really said whether we like this or not yet. First viewing, I was like, this is pretty good. It's a bit inconsequential. It's very much like a moment in time. Is it a necessary film to see? Second viewing, I thought, no. I think I got it wrong. This film is great. This film is really good. It makes me want to see. Have you heard about the Banshees of Inisherin?
I have heard of that film, actually, yes.
The Banshees of Inisherin. It's another film. It's a more recent film by Martin McDonagh.
That was my band in high school.
What, Martin McDonagh or you didn't call? No, see, I'm assuming you mean the Banshees of Inisherin, but imagine if you called your band Martin McDonagh.
Actually, we were called the Lollipop Men.
That's good. But right, so headlining is Martin McDonagh, and with support acts, the Banshees of Inisherin and the Lollipop Men. I would go and see that gig. It sounds like something that Pitchfork would write about. He's reunited Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, so it's the three of them again, the director, writer, and
nice.
those two characters again, like another two-part character study.
Maybe we'll review that one.
Oh God, yeah, I had no intention to watch a film called The Banshees of Inisherin, but now I've seen this, I'm thinking it's like the team are back together.
You were saying Colin's outfit was he was wearing the same outfit the whole time, and you're wondering if
rightly
he's
so, but yeah.
The one, I'll say, shooting in public, and the other thing that is the most egregious, and if I had to have a complaint about the film that I didn't buy, is the pregnant lady who runs the inn they're in, and Harry comes in with a gun, and she's like, I'm not leaving. I'm pregnant, and I'm not leaving. And I just didn't. One of the most harrowing things that happened when we were my wife was pregnant with my first son. We were driving and someone cut us off, and I almost hit them. Like, it was very last minute, and I pulled out of the way. My wife was like 9 months pregnant, and she still talks about it all the time as being like horrifying that could have happened that close to my son being born. There's no way a pregnant lady who's 9 months pregnant, unless she is on drugs, is going, no, this is my inn. I'm not. I know you have a gun in my face, but I'm standing here. You think?
I've met plenty of women who would do that. I've got a few points actually when it comes to the relationships with the women in this film. There's a kind of like love at first sight moment. So Colin Farrell, Ray, looks across at Chloe, and it's like, it's like one of those moments. And I was going to ask you, this is kind of veering away from the subject of the movie, but do
I believe in love at first sight?
In love at first sight. No. Do you believe? I know it's weird to bring it up from a relationship between a hitman and a drug dealer that lasts about one night where he blinds somebody. But do you believe in love at first sight?
I believe that you can see someone, feel instantly connected to them, and then as the relationship progresses, realize that, yes, it is love. I don't think it's an all-encompassing soul thing that you just feel their soul instantly and know that, people say I knew it was the one. I think it's like buying a new car, all right? You go in and you take a look and you go, it looks so good, and then you drive it for a while and it doesn't break down. No, I think.
Have you ever watched the Fast Show?
What's that?
Have you ever watched the Fast Show?
Is that a reference to sexual prowess?
I will definitely be inserting a clip of Swiss Tony now.
When you're selling a car to a woman, you have to imagine you're making love to her. You have to seduce her. And when she buys, that's the big O, orgasm central. Multiple orgasm would be if she bought lots of cars.
Like a fleet?
Yes, but that never happens.
So what I'm saying, in my experience, is yes, you meet someone and you go, oh my God, there's just something that draws me to this person, and I really, really want to get to know them. Obviously, with my wife, I felt that way the first time I saw her. And but I can't say...
He has to say that.
No, but what I'm saying is...
She watches. She watches the podcast.
No, but what I'm saying is...
I'm okay. No one I know watches this.
What I'm saying, though, is... So I thought that this could be a really good thing, but I didn't know that until I was with her for a while. So it's like you can get a feeling that like, ooh, I really want to get to know this person. I mean, I've also met girls that I thought like were really cool, and then they're like a psychopath when you talk to them. So I think the attraction, initial first love attraction, absolutely. But what is that? Is that like a soul thing that you know? I don't know if I buy that.
I think I agree with you. I kind of used to believe in love at first sight because I thought it had happened to me a few times in life, or once or twice. But actually, I think love is more of a built-up thing where I think it kind of develops over time. Maybe I think maybe love at first sight is a young man's game.
Well,
until they learn about the real world.
Well, I know we're straying from the movie, but I think in today's society, and I think this has always been true. There's the sort of when you first meet a person and the butterflies in your stomach and like new love feeling. And in any relationship, love is like a flowing thing. It changes. And a lot of people, I think, when that initial feeling wears off, they think, oh, I don't love her anymore. And they just get someone new in perpetuity. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly.
Perpetuity.
In perpetuity. I am an idiot. No,
in Bruges.
In Bruges. In perpetuity. And it's funny that not your dad recommended this, and I'm mispronouncing shit left and right. I think that they think that, oh, I'll just find someone new, and the feeling always goes away, so they go, oh, I must not be in love. When I think actual love is a long-standing, amazing, awesome thing that changes as you grow older. I don't think it's just some, like, feeling of nice feelings at the very beginning.
Does it help the initial kind of love at first sight? Does it help if you do shoot a blank right in someone's face and blind them on your first date? That would help me.
You know what I said? I said to Colin Farrell, I said, Ray, stop stealing my moves. That was funny, too, that he shot the ex-boyfriend and blinded him, and she's like, I want to see you later.
It's right. Okay, that's on to my next point. So, the stereotype of women falling for the bad boy. I thought this film just put it right up there. Ray, he's a bit of an idiot. He's a violent idiot. Definitely a bad boy. And he does some very bad actions. And the girl of his dreams is like, keep coming.
See, I think
she was a drug dealer.
I think that what people overlook in that girls always fall for the bad boy is Ray is also very attractive man. Like, he's a handsome guy. So,
yes.
I think that plays into it. Like, I don't think it's a girl going, I like a guy that does crimes and treats me like shit. I think it's, ooh, this guy is really, like, it's like if you had, this beautiful model girl that was like, I treat you like shit. And you were like, okay, I'm going with you. Your friends aren't going to be like, man, Six always goes for those girls that just treat him like shit. It's like, no, Six goes for really attractive women. And I think that probably has a little more to do with it.
Let's imagine when Martin McDonagh writing this script, yeah?
Let's imagine Danny DeVito is Ray.
I was going to say literally swap the roles in the film, right? They're both hitmen, they're both bad boys, but if you notice, Chloe, the whole romance issue is definitely set up between Colin Farrell and the good-looking woman, and not Brendan Gleeson.
Yes.
So Martin McDonagh himself
Ken.
knows what he's doing here.
They give him a couple flirtatious moments with the pregnant. It's like, here you go, Ken. Have a minute.
Yeah.
Have it. She doesn't really like you, but we'll give you a minute to feel nice.
Did you notice the way that the film was sort of framed as well? So they both are bad people. And if you think about it, Ken's worse in a way because he's been doing it for longer and he's killed more people. And he's even said himself he's killed innocent people. You know, the lollipop man just trying to protect his brother.
Yeah.
And yet, in this film, and this happens so many times in movies in general, in this film, I really liked Ken, and you really feel for him. And he has that horrific death scene where he hits the grave, jumps off the belfry of Bruges, and he hits the ground, and they do the squelch sound, and they do the blood. You see the blood explode from his head. He has this horrible death scene, and you feel for him because all the way through the film, I liked him. I liked this horrible brute of a man.
2 questions. One, in your opinion, if you jumped from that tower and splattered, which they did an amazing effect when he hit the ground, are you saying shit about any... You know what I would... You'd be like, Bill, where's the gun? I'd go, ow! That's what I would say.
You've got a fair point. Given the height of that belfry, the speed he hits the ground, and the fact you see him explode, it is quite surprising.
He should probably ask his brain across the street what his brain thinks.
Yeah, it was. I think there was a few moments. So I would say that him being able to talk after exploding against the floor was up there with the fact that Colin Farrell's stench of his shirt wasn't mentioned by anyone. The love of his life didn't go, oh, you're a... oh. Is he doing a wee or a poo?
He's handsome, but he smells like garbage. I did think speaking of the characters, another good job they did is Harry is a caricature of a character when you first meet him.
Yes.
He's this funny, over the top, you know, scumbag. And then as you Brits would say, Ken takes the piss out of him when they sit down to meet, and then he calls his kids. What did he call his kids? Assholes too. And he's like, "Don't bring more kids into it." What did he say?
He goes, Harry, you're a and you're just gonna keep having more kids, more kids. And the guy goes, "Don't you bring my kids into my kids are not." So you take that back. You take that. You retract that statement. And it's the way Ken goes. Harry, I retract this. I retract the fact that I called your kids. I retract it.
And what's funny is
Brilliant.
we've talked about this. I've said this in prior episodes because we're gonna have to bleep that whole thing. I get the feeling that in the UK that curse word is a 2 out of 10. Where I'm from, that curse word is a 12 out of 10. So we'll definitely be bleeping that out. But what I thought was interesting was then he takes him up to the tower, and when Harry. He tells Harry how much he respects him. He goes, well, I can't shoot you now. And he does shoot him in the leg. But what I thought was interesting is they humanized Harry. Harry was a caricature, and by the end of the film, he's a human being. And again, it's all a bit obviously exaggerated for effect. It's a movie. But I felt like they're all characters in this movie. You know, they're not just little there for the bit. Like, I just was very impressed by the guy who wrote this, and obviously the characters.
You're right. They tied everything together, and you're right. For me, Harry does start as a comedy character. You don't quite realise when the phone call at the beginning, when you're listening to him talking, and I know I keep bringing it up.
I knew that. What is it? Is it Ralph Fiennes? You said,
yeah.
Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes. When I knew that he was not your dad's
in Bruges.
Day with this. He's gonna have a field day with this. When I found out I knew he was in the film, but when he first does the phone call, I thought it was going to be like the old man from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Remember that old guy? Oh, he's got the black glasses.
Never seen it, never will.
Really? Not a big Guy Ritchie
it's a personal.
fan?
Yeah, no, it's a personal.
Is
thing.
it that you wanted to marry Madonna and you're upset with him because he did? Is that what happened?
It's a personal thing. No one knows me and no one watches this anyway. But everyone knows I've never seen it. Neville. Maybe we should do Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels one day, just because it's the film that I've always said I've never seen and never will.
It's been probably since the '90s since I watched it.
Yeah, just silly. I like the way you're right. So, I've got so much beeping to do. I'm giving myself so much work. I'm giving myself so much work. When he starts talking at the beginning and he starts saying, Bruges, does Ray like it there? No, it's not really his cup of tea, Harry. Oh, he doesn't. What do you mean? I don't like it. Oh, yeah, you're right. And all that stuff. And you think it's going to be like a comedy, little comedy episode on the phone. It's throwaway, yeah? But it's not. He comes into it, still a caricature. But it's the way at the end where he says, where Ken says to him, I kind of love you unreservedly, Harry, and I understand what you're going to have to do. And it's the way Harry says to him, well, I can't shoot you now, can I? Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's just lovely. Because he's your ultimate hard man. And he just goes, I can't shoot you now, can I? I can't kill you. No, maybe it's I can't kill you. I can't kill you now, can I? But, so, just to mention the plot, right, of the film. Spoilers. Just to mention the whole plot of the film. It's a beautiful circle where...
I like that you say spoilers after we've talked about his body splatting down from the top of the tower.
Well,
Go ahead.
I like to just, yeah, we probably spoiled it a fair bit. So the whole plot of the film, because it is just like a
Jesus
moment,
died on a cross. Jesus died on the cross. Spoilers, he was from Nazareth.
Oh, what a silly...
Sorry.
So it starts, right? We find out that Ray, on his first hit, he shoots this kid. And the whole film revolves around Harry not being happy that Ray shot a child. So Ray has to die. Fine. So the film ends, and this is just beautiful, really. The film ends with Harry shooting Ray. And just like the beginning, the bullet goes through Ray and hits what Harry thinks is a child. And it's not a child. It's actually a little person actor.
Yes.
However, the little person actor's dressed as like Harry Potter, like a little school child.
Yeah.
And it's just does that. And the thing is, Harry earlier in the film said, if I shot a child without hesitation, I'd blow my brains out, right? And at the end of the film, Harry, and you've got to respect this. This is like true integrity of a murderer.
To be fair, he hesitated.
But like I know it's like.
They also previewed the little person in the outfit, and they were making fun of him, and
Yes.
he came up, and they were laughing. But even that isn't just. They could have just been like, he's wearing that outfit. They're like, no, we have to set up why he's wearing the outfit.
Beautiful.
I
was going to say, you like crime bosses, right? You have the feeling, and this is like politicians and stuff as well. They'll say a lot of things, but when it comes to the crux of the matter, when it comes to the absolute point in time where what they said happens, they will find a way out of it. And this guy, this particular crime boss, just gets his gun out and blows his brains out. As Ray is he's looking up at him and he's trying to say to him, Harry, wait, it's not a kid. He doesn't even get the chance to say, Ray, Harry, it's not a kid. Harry just goes, bang, gone.
Well,
if I was in a cinema, it might be the first time I would ever applaud. I'd go like that.
Well, they talk about honor among thieves, and these are the most honorable thieves. Every point of this movie, we're going to walk up, you're going to wait till I count to 3 and say this, and he's shooting him to death. And he's saying, no, don't kill yourself, you're making a mistake, as he's shooting him to death. Now, question, is Ray dead? Is this a movie where they have a sequel and he's got an arm sling in the first scene?
I thought it was ambiguous. It's like a bit like Taxi Driver, Scorsese's Taxi Driver, where I think it's an ambiguous ending where you could think that Travis Bickle is dead. And in fact, in my head, it's definitely that he's dead. But Scorsese says, nope, categorically, he lives, and everything that happens at the end is true. This film also, he does like a narration at the end. So I think he's probably alive and it's all true. And he starts to say, I hope I don't die. I hope I don't die.
Well, let's rewind.
How did you read it? I read it that he probably is alive at the end.
I think they're leading you to think that he is, but in my headcanon, as they say, I think he's dead. I just think the movie works best with them all. It's sad. It's a tragedy, and I think it makes it more poignant. But I don't. I think if they made a sequel, or if the director said no, he lived through it, I think that's a valid view. Another question I have is earlier in the film, Ken is ordered to kill Ray, and of course he's going to kill him in the middle of a park with children. It was a weird call, but anyway, he's walking up to him.
There was no one there, to be fair, was there? Not another single person.
Yeah.
Around.
But you know who tends to find dead bodies in playgrounds? Children. Anyway, so he's walking up behind him, and he goes to shoot him in the head, and as he goes to shoot him in the head, Ray goes to commit suicide, and he yells to stop him from committing suicide. What did you think of that? And B, how come when he put Ray on the train, and he goes, "Did you kill him?" And Harry asked him, why didn't he go, "Yes, I did, and I threw him in the water"?
So there's 2 points. I liked probably the most important part of the whole film was the way that he's watching Ray sitting on the bench, and he's in the little promenade bit, the thingy-jig bit, whatever you call it, the carousel, I think we call it, the thing in the middle. It's got a name. I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
And he marches with complete and utter determination. He's definitely.
It's called perpetuity.
He's going in Bruges. He marches across, and and you can, for me, he's definitely going to kill him. He's definitely going to kill him. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
He says later that he wasn't going to. He was definitely going to kill him. But it's interesting when he pulls his gun out and he goes to kill himself. It's like almost his natural reaction. If he had any sense about him, he just let it happen. But he has to shout no, and the minute he shouts no, he's killed them both, pretty much. It's like you said, there was many points in this film that Ken could have escaped without dying, but he just it for himself completely. As the sensible character.
I think what you said is correct, and I think what's interesting, and I think a mistake that I can make sometimes, and I think a lot of film critics make, is you watch a movie and you go, that's not the rational thing for that character to do, when human beings are the most irrational. I was going to say the most irrational people. Human beings are the most irrational people. They're the most irrational creatures because they're not, they're behaving on so much more than, Spock-like rigorous rationale. And so, yeah, I agree. I think he had talked himself up. He was probably, he obviously hated that he had to do it. He was going to kill him. He convinced himself that it's his job. That's what he does. But I think when he goes to kill himself, that fatherly, brotherly, caring, whatever it is, instinct comes up so quickly, you can't stop it. It's, I see my kids fight, and then one of them actually gets hurt, and it's like all of a sudden it goes, oh my God, like what? Even though they were just at each other's throats, the minute before.
It is strange because the relationship they've got, it's said that Ken brought Ray into the organization, so there must be some previous between them. But it's odd because at face value, they haven't got a lot in common apart from being hitmen. The fact that they've got a relationship like I've had in the past where you go on holiday and one person wants to do a relaxing sitting by a pool for a week doing absolutely nothing and drinking at the pool bar, and the other person wants to visit all the attractions and see all the history, and they clash. So they have that kind of relationship where if they were together, they wouldn't get on. But for some reason,
I definitely would have hung out with Ken. I would have hung out with Ken.
Yeah, I would have hung out
all
with
Ken. All the stuff he was picking, I was like, oh, that sounds nice.
Ray is a complete idiot. Yeah. He's not a good person. He's an idiot.
He's a lovable. Is
he lovable? Is he?
Well, he's funny.
I didn't like Ray very much. I thought he was a bit of a dick.
Well, he is, but he's funny, and funny goes a long way with me.
I'm not killing myself for Ray. Ken kills himself for Ray.
Well, I think as someone who's older and who's a parent, I think you get a soft spot for idiot kids because we're all idiots to some degree when we're younger. And I think the idea is, he's living in a very small world, and there's a great big wide world in front of him that he doesn't see. And the hope is that if he can live to be older, that as he gets more experience and lives through more, that very narrow window he's looking through, where he's saying this beautiful place in Belgium is a piece of shit, and it's hilarious, but that he could expand that. And again, that's also another very funny gag that the whole time Ray absolutely cannot stand this
He
town
hates Bruges.
and when you learn that Harry sent him there to give him a last wonderful week before he died,
That's
it's
lovely.
very funny.
Your second point, why, when he put him on the train, did he not just say, yeah, I killed him, Harry, it's all done? Do you know
Yeah.
why? It's because what I was saying all the way through, Ken is very similar to Harry. Ray's a different matter. He's like the child. He's like the he's the idiot kid.
He is a 12-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ken is a little bit aligned with Harry with complete integrity, right? Ken was never going to lie to Harry. He was going to say to Harry's face, I didn't kill him, Harry. Didn't kill him. And I like that. I think that's explainable. You're thinking that it was like almost like a problem with a plot.
No, I don't. No, I don't think it's a
all right.
no.
I think it's all
I
right.
don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's a problem with the plot, and I think you're right. And I think Ken is a badass, and I wrote that in my notes, especially as he's sitting there willing to meet him, and he's like, "I'm not going to defend myself. Let's talk." And he tells him what he actually thinks about him, looks him in the eye. I mean, Ken's a badass.
Yes.
But I mean, we are talking about matters of life and death, and is there? It's a question, not something I know. Is there a point where integrity can be foolish? In that yes, you're a man of your word. You're a dead man who's known for keeping his word versus a living man who's still alive and can maybe help people or live a full life.
Yeah, I think I'd lie and live. I think
most of us would.
I might not be a man of integrity.
Yeah, I think a lot of us would like to say, like, oh, yes, I would take the integrity. I think life is it's built into us. We like living.
I really like this film. I like films that are like snapshots in time, inconsequential. It's almost like it kind of starts in the middle and then characters weave in and out. It all happens over the course of a few hours, and it's just, I thought, it's all about the dialogue. It's sharp. Did it have some? Did it have something to say? Films don't need something to say. It could just be a comedy. But I get the feeling that Martin McDonagh, and given what I've read about the Banshees of Inisherin, I think this is the guy who's got something. He's always got something to say. What's he say? My only thing is, what's he saying with this film? Have we touched upon that?
I think if you believe that Ray survives at the end, then it would be a film about redemption, because he did an unforgivable thing, and someone else who really had the eyes to judge him, which would be Ken, who knew exactly what he did and how he did it, decided that it was worth giving up his own life to give Ray a second chance. And he also says to him, and they were making a joke about it, like, you could help other kids. Like, what am I going to be, a doctor now? So I think if Ray lives, I think you could look at it as a film of redemption, and that someone judging you for the worst thing that you've ever done deems it worth to give up their own life in order to allow you the opportunities to be better. Says a lot about redemption.
I hope it's not a film about redemption, because after Ray shot the child and Ken was trying to give him redemption, he also blinded another man and then punched a woman in the face.
He did, but I think,
because
but it's not that he would instantly change.
He's an idiot piece of shit. He just happens to look a bit like Colin Farrell.
Yeah, well, and I think the other, integrity would be another thing about the integrity of all the characters and
integrity. Let's go with that. I'm going to go with that. It's a film about integrity. I really liked it, actually. I'm going to give him Bruges. I would give it a thumbs up. I thought it was a really interesting film. There was bits about it I didn't think worked. I didn't really buy the music, the soundtrack. It didn't really work for me. But overall,
thumbs up is such a funny review thing, because this guy wrote and directed it. So he probably worked on this for 5 years, sweating, rewriting, filming, getting like money for it, and then you like come up and you're like,
well, it's just rather than give it a score. That's all it is.
Oh no, I know.
Rather than give it a score, I think I'm
teasing you.
Everybody
does it.
That.
No, everybody does it. Everybody does like 3.5 stars out of 5.
How did you feel about this film, Bill?
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was an extremely well made film, and I like, obviously any film that you see, someone took a lot of time and a lot of effort to get it made, or a group of people did. But when you can see someone that clearly cared and just went to the nth degree that everything ties together. The script is just so tight and it's so funny and surprising. The fact that there's characters in this film, not just like cardboard cutouts of, you know. I'll admit when Not Your Dad first recommended it, I respect his opinion a lot, and a buddy that I have back here also said it was a great film, and I respect his opinion a lot. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, I kind of didn't laugh a lot at the trailer, and I thought it was going to be one of those SNL skit movies where they just go from like scene to scene to scene, and that's not what this was. I thought it was.
I've never. What's
fantastic.
an S&M skit movie?
Did I say
Scat.
S&M?
I don't know. That's all I'm hearing.
I thought I said SNL.
Oh, you probably did. All I hear is S&M scat.
Now
which
I'm
is
nervous
something
that I'm going to go
completely
back.
different.
SNL is Saturday Night Live.
Right. Oh, right.
And so a lot of times the cast members will make these movies where they just go from like scene to scene where it's like a gag, and then you never see the character again. And I hope this wasn't like a buddy comedy like that, and it wasn't. And so I really enjoyed it. And I think what's the other movie he made? We
need to watch the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, Inisherin, is that? What
Yeah.
you're saying?
I don't know how you pronounce that. It's obviously an Irish
I don't
name.
think I don't think we'll do that for the next film. I was thinking for the next film, I had asked on Reddit people of what other Giallo films we should review, and I think I'm going to go back to that, and we're going to pick a Giallo film. I'll make a post about that. We also have a listener who recommended a film, and I can't remember what the film is, and I haven't watched the trailer yet.
That's research
So,
for you. Well, we've got a listener who recommended something that I can't remember.
Well, no. So I'm gonna go back and watch the trailer and send it to you, and then
Right.
we'll decide, and maybe not next episode, but the episode after that, maybe we'll review that. Sounds good
Okay.
to me. And I'll write it down, so I won't be like, "Hey, we're reviewing this thing."
Okay.
On that bombshell.
Over. And remember to
Oh wait, yeah.
to
Oh,
like
yeah.
and subscribe. Like and subscribe. If you've watched this YouTube video, make a comment.
Yes. Also, let me
Comment!
Say I was all excited because last night we did a short of a joke I told last episode, and it got like a bunch of views, and our subscribers went up, and it was at 599, and I was so happy. I was like, should I make a post even that we're about to get to 600? I logged in like an hour later, and some piece of shit unsubscribed. So now it's 598. So yes, if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. Please like the video and hit the bell. Please hit the bells. Hit the bell. The bell will tell you what the video is. Hit the bell. All right, yeah. Hit the bell. To get more great impressions like that, and so. On that bombshell.
Over and